How are we going to be really able to connect diversity when diversity apparently is very far apart?
I'm lucky, let's say, because I've lived here.
Damanhur is not an island in the sea, but Damanhur is a country that is in relation with all people.
We are part of this beautiful ecosystem.
Imagine a world in harmony with nature, with others, and with ourselves. A world where people are nourished by diversity and beauty. Do you believe it can exist? Utopia, discovering dreams that are reality.
Damanhur was born in the middle of 70s in Turin when our founder, Falco Tarassaco, collected around him many people with the idea to transform the spiritual research in a lifestyle. It is called the City of Light, and in other translations can be the City of Horus. My name is Stambecco Pesco. I have been living in Damanhur since 1981. Actually, I am one of the coordinators of the meditation groups in the world. I have took care of the school for spiritual healers. I have wrote many of the books about Damanhur and about Falco.
So my name is Bertuccia Bietala, and I work in the communications of Damanhur. I am part of Damanhur since 2006, but I was living in Croatia, and I did the School of Meditation, so the Damanhurian path of initiation from Croatia. I helped also build the Damanhurian Center there in Croatia, and at a certain point I felt this calling inside that I needed to come to Damanhur. And then in 2015 I decided and came to live here.
Con voi, I'm Canguro Nasturzio. I grew up in Damanhur because my parents came here from Florence when I was 12. Piovra, that is the responsible of art in the temples, asked me to make caricatures about the Damanhurian people. And then from the caricatures I started to do portraits.
Con voi, my name is Termite. I found Damanhur 10 years ago. I love art in all expression. When I came to visit the temple in front of the Atlantis zone, I thought I want to paint here, so we are.
Con voi, my name is Entello. I'm 29 years old and I just moved here from like 2 months, but I'm part of Damanhur from more or less 7 years. I work for Damanhur Academy. Damanhur Academy is the place where we share our experience. We do organize courses, schools, retreats. I take care of the part, let's say, of the general organization of all this project.
I am Formica Coriandolo, and I have lived in Damanhur for 40 years now. In Damanhur, in all these years, I have done many things. A lot of art in the temples, all the stained glasses in the temples. I have been in charge of the press office for many years. I have been elected as the guide for the federation. That is a role that means to take care of the development of all Damanhur. Now, I am a teacher in the Dream School.
So the temples are below the mountain. It cannot be seen from the outside. So we started digging the temples in 1978. It was dug in secret. So the first Damanhurians didn't even know, not all Damanhurians knew that there was something as the temples. And then in '92, it was actually completely open to the world. The temples are, for us, a very important tool for the awakening of humankind. And it's an everyday tool that we use in our practices. So it's not only you will now enter, it's not something just to be seen as a museum, but as an active tool for our spirituality. So we do here rituals and practices and meditations. We wanted also to leave one part of raw rock so that you can see where it has been built, because once you are inside the holes with all the artistic parts on the walls, sometimes you don't have the feeling of being underground.
My name is Baris Elleboro. I was born and raised in Damanhur. I'm 28. I'm currently a Damanhurian citizen, and I'm working in Damanhur as well. If you want to connect to a Damanhurian community, usually the process is that you ask for the specific community to join, and from that moment on, you start a process. Physically, you move in one of a family, in one of a house, or close by. So after these 6 months or 1 year, then you have all the tools to decide if you really want to become a Damanhurian citizen.
We have this program that is called Community Life Programs, in which people from all over the world, youth people, they can come, we live together, we work together, and also we give them all the information, the history of Damanhur, so that they can understand not just on the surface, but really diving into all the reasons why we are today who we are.
And welcome to the Temples of Humankind.
So when you enter in the temple, I think it's really strong, the energy. In the first time you cannot really understand all the inputs that arrive to you.
This is the Hall of Victory, and it creates with the Hall of the Earth, which is here above, a sign of the infinite, communicating the fact that our physical life, so the one that is represented in this hall, with all the different plant species and animal species, and different also climatic parts of this planet, to represent the physical aspect of living on this planet, whereas the other aspect represents the spiritual, philosophical aspect of living on this planet. So all the paintings inside the temples were done by the Damanhurian artists. This is the first of the 8 halls the temples has, and it is circular also because it wants to represent the circular flow of life. Damanhurians painted because we wanted to represent real life, so the experience that we lived. This hall truly wants to represent the immense diversity and beauty and richness of planet Earth. In the center of this hall there is the representation of the masculine and feminine element united. The gold on their faces represents their divine origin. On the ceiling you could see represented the stars and the constellations, as it was on this same altitude 22,000 years ago. We have different also houses, so it's not one typical way of living in Damanhur, but you have like some big houses and then you have smaller wooden houses or straw bale houses. What is common to all of them is the fact that each Damanhurian has its own private space, and then we have communal spaces. So we eat together, we spend time together, we have meetings together.
So currently we have 4 communities, plus many other groups and community in the process of being formed worldwide. Then we have several companies that develop specific aspects of Damanhur, for example, the visits, courses, we have production of books.
Damanhur is not an island in the sea, but Damanhur is a country that is in relation with all the other world that wish to stay in touch with us.
We wanted to represent here how life actually can be played in every segment of your life. So from childhood, and let's say the game is played with toys, with objects, with the surroundings. Then in adolescence, we have play as discovery of the world, and we can see her traveling to the International Space Station. Then in adulthood, we have play as expression of your talents, here through music. And in old age, we see the representation of a game of strategy, which is chess, and we can see the old person playing with herself at a young age, and the older person wins, because we believe that age and experience always wins. And we can read a story in this hall. So we start by Damanhur, who is the creator of universes, and through his breath, he actually creates different universes that we can see here expressed. Then we have the male figure here, which is leaning forward and in a dynamic position, representing life and the exploration of life. And he's opposed to this gray figure, which represents in Damanhurian philosophy everything connected to being static, to not being open for change.
Damanhur, it grew and it required a space, a hub for all the main Damanhurian activities, which is represented by Damanhur Crea. Damanhur Crea is an old Olivetti factory, and it was bought in order to create this space, this hub, where we can have from Damanhur Welcome Center, Damanhur University, so all the main Damanhurian activities. You can find our organic grocery store, Selfica laboratory, painting hall, so all the different aspects of Damanhurian artisanry.
In the temples, you have hundreds of meters of corridors that connect different halls, and each hall also represents a room inside of ourselves. This is the Blue Temple. It's the first hall that the initial builders dug inside the mountain. So this hall is dedicated to practical idealism, and this was exactly the characteristics or the traits, let's say, of the first builders. You can find on the walls painted the four elements, so fire, earth, water, and wind. And it remained a little bit, let's say, not very much elaborated for the fact of leaving also a mark that we shouldn't strive for perfection. So even all the, let's say, things that we accomplish in our life, the first attempts are never perfect, but you need to continue digging and all the others after that will be better and better and better. So this is the hall of water, dedicated to the feminine, dedicated to the element of water. This is the only hall that was completely painted by Falco. So he, in a sense, took the opportunity to write everything that was important to leave inside the temples in this hall. So you can see 12 different languages. Some of them we deciphered, some of them are completely unknown to us. And it's a big source of inspiration and of research here in Damanhur.
We created a system that can be integrated. So even if you work in Damanhur, you have your contract, your salary. So everybody is independent and responsible for its own economy. Means that by yourself you will find maybe a job inside or a Damanhurian company or outside. Everybody, if they can, willingly support projects of Damanhur, regardless of the work.
A typical day in Damanhur is very much filled with different activities. So I have one role in my community, one role in my work, one role in other aspects, spiritual path.
Travel, go out in the world, meet new people, sharing Damanhur, bringing our courses. That's also part of my work, so I feel it part of my mission.
We have spring water here, we have all our system in all our communities here in this place. We keep the water from the spring, we purify with UV ray, and we pump into the houses, and then we clean it, and we give back to the nature completely clean. We grow organic food, we tend to self-sufficiency from the point of view of the energies, renewable energies.
This is one of the aspects that I like in Damanhur, that each one of us used to be involved in many different jobs, in many different activities.
This old man, which represents time, being on this plane of reality, we are immersed in time. On this part of the hall, we see represented a battle between, you can see different faces of the Damanhurians, and you can see those gray figures that actually represent, here on the opposite side of the hall, you can see the gray figure, so let's say this enemy part that we all hold inside. Here you can see this battle in everyday life. On the ceiling you can see a mandala, which tells the story of the possibility of humankind to regain memory, to from life to life remember different experiences. The heart of the Damanhurian spirituality is the belief that we as human beings hold a divine spark, a divine aspect, that we have divine origin, and what we are trying to accomplish is to reawaken ourselves to the fact that we are of divine origin.
The biggest challenge Damanhur had to go through in the last years was redefining what Damanhur is. How are we gonna be really able to connect diversity when diversity apparently is very far apart? For now we managed to do so, and we managed to make all of these changes. Is constantly an issue and an opportunity for us as a collective.
So when I arrived here, I already knew everyone, I already knew the people, I already knew Damanhur as a community, and from the spiritual to the social part. So to me, the integration when I moved here was quite easy. Everyone was happy that a young group from Rimini finally came here to start a project that aimed to attract and reach new generation.
Stainless window is representing a specific age in our life. And it's also represented by a specific metal. So here it's represented also this transformation as a search for gold, not material gold, but let's say spiritual gold, for refinement, for soul.
So we come here and meditate upon that. We meditate upon each window represents that specific age and gives us clues on possible transformation happening in that time frame of life. In general, living in a community has pros and cons. I would say that the pros are definitely the speed and the velocity with which you can change, because you are in contact with many people and they mirror you and give you feedback. So in that sense, it gives an opportunity for growth. Living together with others creates pressure, because you have a constant contact and a constant need for meetings, agreements, being able to be on the same place together with others.
So this is an house, is where I live, and is a building completely built with natural materials. So this is with earth and straw. And so also this is built from a Damanhurian, all these wooden parts. And here you can see some sacred language symbols. I also work in Crea, so in my office, but sometimes, someday I also work here. When I need to do more focused work, I need my own space, and so I prefer to work here. This is the community in Damanhur connected to the water element. And this is the nucleo called Dendera. That is a name that means city of the women. So here we have a spiral, also like in other territories of Damanhur. And in this house here we live now in 11 people. So here we have the kitchen and there is the lunch being prepared. And here we have our living room where we eat all together. Our main meals, so lunch, dinner, we eat here all together. We make our nucleo meeting here every Sunday afternoon. Every day we open the tarot and each one of us, before going out for work or starting the day, each one picks one card, one tarot, asking for suggestions or something for the day that is beginning. So usually here are all the individual cards, and these are the cards for the family. Yes. And this has been the first group living in this house.
The real vocation of Damanhur, not to be just a spiritual path, but to be a whole world that has goal the realization in a daily life, in each aspect of the life, of a spiritual thought.
It's painted 4 big golden snakes, which represent the 4 symbolic lines. I don't know whether you already know, but Damanhur was built here because we do believe that the whole planet is intertwined with energy lines, which in different traditions were called the spine of the dragon, or someone called them ley lines. In any sense, energy lines through which information, dreams travel. And Damanhur was built in this point because we do believe that there are 4 symbolic lines crossing. And it's also the reason why why the temples were built underground, in order to tap into those energies. Labyrinth is the hall dedicated to all different divinities that ever existed in all parts of the world. We in Damanhur believe that all belief systems, all religions, all spiritual paths can coexist in harmony, and this is the reason why we built this hall, representing different divinities and also different peoples, different indigenous people and also contemporary people who are connected to different divinities.
Damanhur tried to be a different one, the possibility to create a different way to live together and with the complexity of a big reality.
Damanhur is a training life. I'm learning all the time. I have painted 100 portraits or more.
The Sacred Woods is the extension of the temples of humankind. So now we visited the underground temples, and this Sacred Wood represents the antennas, the, let's say, outside expression of those temples. This place where we are now is actually the mother tree. We call it Diamantel. We connect to this tree because it's for us very important. We connect it for insight, for dreams, for just to talk to as a being. In Damanhurian philosophy, when we talk about human soul, we believe that both the plants and the animal kingdom is part of that soul. So in that sense, in our everyday life, we do cherish and keep this connection alive. In many ancient civilizations, the Sacred Woods was actually a temple, so nature and trees for all this time represented for humans a point of sacred contact. What is typical and different in this Sacred Woods is kilometers and kilometers of this energetic, colored stone pathway, which are actually energetic pathways that we use in order to align our individual, let's say, energies and subtle bodies with the energetic flow of the planet.
Con voi.
Viva la vita!
Utopia. discovering dreams that are reality.